Good morning, televiewers of my Media Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on Back to School 2022-2023. Several meetings have been held, amongst which are security meeting, with the recent being that which are held at the level of the Ministry of Defense, chaired by Joseph Beti Asomo. Joseph Beti Asomo recently chaired that security meeting to evaluate how far the country is prepared ahead of 2022-2023 academic year, especially in the conflict-hit regions of the country. And we're equally told by several newspapers that the general manager of the lone oil refinery of the country was yesterday grilled at the Special Criminal Tribunal in Yaoundé. The Special Criminal Tribunal, which is becoming more powerful in the country, with some of the personalities that are often referred to as untouchable being grilled at the level of that court created by President Paul Biya of the Republic of Cameroon, which are equally talk about special status that was given to the northwest and southwest regions of the country during the major national dialogue in 2019. We are told by some newspapers that experts have finally exposed the emptiness of special status that was given to the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The experts are saying that the special status is not having any content as like in other countries that have similar problems like what we are having in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous et merci de nous retrouver pour cette autre édition de Debrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur My Media Prime Télévision. Alors ce matin, nous débutons avec le journal Mutation Quotidien. Le journal Mutation Quotidien nous parle en grand titre de Ferdinand Ngongo, l'affaire Ferdinand Ngongo. En effet, le journal a intitulé Serial à propos de Ngongo. Réflexion donc autour de l'audition supposée ou réelle du secrétaire général à la présidence de la République par le TCS au sujet du Covid-Gate. L'intégralité de cette réflexion, c'est dans cette édition de Mutation Quotidien à sa page 11. À sa page 6, le journal nous parle de rentrée scolaire au Cameroun et les assurances du gouvernement. Page 9, le journal Mutation Quotidien nous révèle que le RDPC est contre le MRC. Il est donc en bataille dans la partie ouest Cameroun. Nous continuons, mesdames, messieurs, avec l'anecdote. L'anecdote ce matin nous présente en grand titre l'immeuble Ekan à Yaoundé, l'onction de la région. C'est du moins ce que révèle le journal L'Anecdote ce matin. À sa page 3, le journal nous parle du comeback d'Atangana Kuna au palais de l'unité. En page 7, le journal nous parle ici de lire donc les résultats du concours de l'entrée à l'ISAM. Mesdames, messieurs, nous poursuivons avec l'œil du Sahel. L'œil du Sahel parle en grand titre de la campagne 2021-2022. La Sodecoton réalise donc un bénéfice de 8,4 milliards de francs CFA. Les détails sont en page 6 et 7 de l'œil du Sahel ce matin. À sa page 2, le journal nous fait le portrait de Daikole Daïsala. Le journal a intitulé « Il était une fois Daikole Daïsala ». Mesdames, Messieurs, en page 12, le journal L'Œil du Sahel nous parle de l'extrême nord Cameroun. Le CIRIC cherche donc plus de 2000 personnes disparues. Nous clôturons avec Émergence Quotidien. Émergence Quotidien parle en grand titre de la disparition forcée d'une dizaine d'organisations qui haussent donc le ton dans une déclaration adressée aux porteurs d'armes. Elle pointe du doigt le cas de disparition dans les conflits du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest et celui contre Boko Haram. Les détails sont donc en page 4 et 5 d'Émergence Quotidien ce matin. À sa page 3, le journal parle de la rentrée scolaire au Cameroun. L'armée est donc en alerte maximale. En page 2, le journal nous parle de croissance. Le Cameroun mise donc sur la production locale. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà pour vos titres ce matin en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys. Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, The Guardian Post. The Guardian Post newspaper this morning is focusing on what experts have said. This was during an online meeting. Those experts were responding to questions from journalists during the online conference concerning the Anglophone crisis, especially the special status that was given to the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country during the major national dialogue which held in 2019 in Yaoundé. Emptiness of special status exposed, writes the Guardian Post newspaper. Experts say what Yaoundé is brandishing as special status for the Northwest and Southwest regions is far cry from what obtains in countries with similar challenges. The paper goes further to say some renowned international Cameroonian peace and conflict experts have accused or assessed what government has since 2019 been brandishing as having given the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country a special status as an empty shell. They made the assessment yesterday, and this was during an online press, and the experts under the banner of a think tank constitutional options project were facing the press based on 2 or 5 policy papers recently released based on 5-year research on the Anglophone crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country. More details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. And let's take you to Kumba, Meme division of the Southwest region, to talk about Presbyterian Church Kumba Town crisis. As crisis drags on, government seals Presbyterian Church Kumba Town. And the paper goes further to tell us that as the crisis that has been rocking the Presbyterian Church Kumba Town in Meme division of the Southwest region of the country continues to drag on, the government through the senior divisional officer Ezio of Meme division has sealed the church, and the doors of the church were sealed yesterday, Tuesday, August 30, 2022 by the SDO Chamberlain Tung Ndong, as the paper puts it. We continue to talk other interesting headlines this time around with back to school in the Northwest Southwest regions. School resumption. On this editorial piece by the Guardian Post, normalcy remains fantasy in the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country. On to the Median. The Median newspaper is focusing on what I told you in my introduction at the Special Criminal Tribunal in Yaoundé. Highly indebted lone oil refinery Sonara General Manager greet at Special Criminal Court in Yaoundé. The paper tells us further that the General Manager of the National Oil Refinery Sonara, Jean-Paul Njunu, spent the better part of Tuesday, September 30th, 2022 at the Special Criminal Court. He was answering questions or being greeted by investigators at the said court on alleged embezzlement and mismanagement of funds at the hem of or at the level of Sonara, as we are told by the paper. The Median is also talking about redeeming Bia, redeeming his 40 years old promise. Bia picks up and dusts Limbe Seaport file. The paper tells us further that the Minister of State Property and Land Tenure, Henry Eyebe Ayisi, last week signed important decisions concerning the long-awaited project, as the paper puts it. The project that many Cameroonians have been lambasting President Paul Biya for not keeping to his promise. As we are told, 40 years on, the Minister of State Property and Land Tenure, through or on high instruction of President Paul Biya, signed certain decisions, very important decisions regarding the development of the said seaport. Let's talk back to school 2022-2023 in Cameroon. Government overhauls security machinery. We are told the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betty Asumu, on August 29 presided over at his cabinet a security assessment meeting in view of hitch-free schools resumption for the 2022-2023 school year in Cameroon. More details on page 2 of this edition of the Set newspaper. And over there in Tombe, we are told Minister Elon Paul has given school materials to children or youths in Tombe. The gesture was done by the minister, as we are told, and several youths from Tombe benefited from the gesture of the minister. And this was to aid them go back to school as the new year or new academic year kickstarts this September 5, 2022. We end this morning with the Sun newspaper. The Sun is also interested in back to school in Cameroon 2022-2023 school year. Famendongo, Nalova, Liunga, Etundi, Ngua say all set, and Betty Asomo also gives us security assurances for students, teachers in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Thank you for watching televiewers on My Media Prime Television. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, Gwladys, and the newspapers are focusing on what is happening at the level of the Special Criminal Tribunal in Yaoundé. Not leaving out back to school 2022-2023, Gwladys.
Effectivement, les mutations quotidiennes nous parlent ici de Ferdinand Ngongo. Je ne sais pas. Maître Alex, si vous êtes connecté, nous allons débuter avec Mutation quotidien qui nous parle ici de l'enquête sur Ferdinand Ngongo.
Maître Alex, are you there? We have a technical issue, Gwladys, this morning. We're hoping that our technician gets Maitre Alex through to us. So we continue with the discussion in the studio, Gwladys. After Ferdinand Ngongo, the general manager of the Lone Oil refinery in the country, was also greeted at the Special Criminal Tribunal in Yaoundé. What do you have to say? The court's becoming very powerful, or it is the machinery of President Paul Biya trying to grind his close collaborators who have been stealing money?
Je pense que à ce niveau, on peut dire que les plaintes ou bien les demandes des Camerounais sont en train d'être écoutées. Parce que je me rappelle sur ce plateau, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui ont dit qu'on ne pouvait pas faire entendre le secrétaire général à la présidence Ferdinand Ngongo. Mais au jour d'aujourd'hui, on a l'impression que avec le chef de l'État, son Excellence Paul Biya, tout le monde peut être entendu. Et c'est une satisfaction, du moins pour nous les Camerounais. On n'attend pas seulement qu'il soit entendu, on attend aussi que l'enquête suive son cours et que si effectivement il est responsable de quoi que ce soit dans cette histoire de Covid-Gate, qu'il paye pour les Camerounais.
Okay, and equally, the general manager of Sonara was also greeted at the said tribunal in Yaoundé for over several hours, 5 hours from what we are reading. He was greeted at the said court. He was answering questions to investigators relating to mismanagement and other related issues at the level of Sonara.
Effectivement, c'est toujours une grande nouvelle pour nous les Camerounais. Moi, je me place toujours dans la peau du Camerounais lambda qui, de chez lui, subit cette décision par ses dirigeants, par ces personnes, comme on parle présentement du directeur de la Sonara. Je crois qu'il était impliqué dans l'affaire Glencore. Si aujourd'hui il est entendu, je pense que c'est pour le grand bien des Camerounais. Mais ma préoccupation...
Not really, because before the new general manager came in, the Glencore store has been there. Probably Taba Mala, who was at the helm of that institution at that time, should be the person answering those questions regarding, Glencore and whatever.
De toutes les façons, ici, la préoccupation n'est pas seulement qu'il soit entendu. C'est déjà un grand pas que ces personnes aient été entendues, aient été questionnées. Maintenant, il faudrait que la procédure se poursuive et que à la fin, on ait un résultat, que les Camerounais aient un résultat fixe. Si effectivement, ils sont reconnus coupables, qu'ils payent ou qu'ils remboursent cet argent et qu'ils payent pour leurs crimes. Mais si ils ne sont pas coupables de ces actions qui sont posées contre eux, alors à ce moment-là, il faudrait qu'on cherche les responsables parce que toujours est-il que l'argent a disparu et le responsable, il est quelque part.
Okay, Maitre Alex, you are finally here. You have point of view this morning on how powerful the Special Criminal Tribunal is becoming. You've often preached and talked about strong institution in the country. Apparently, the machinery of Mr. Biya is working when it comes to strong institution. Even his close collaborators that he has even designated his signature to, they are going through that court to answer to charges of embezzlement, corruption, mismanagement of public funds.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Mr. Tebong, for bringing. Also, hello to the people of the Cameroons. I'm not a fan of politics of personality called Mr. Biya's institution. No, I would like us to talk about an institution of a country, not about Mr. Biya. And when I tell you there's a lot of mistake, there's something we call PACE, Criminal and Police and Criminal Evidence Act, when it comes to dealing with things to have fair hearing, fair trial. But unfortunately, we talk about personality creating institution. What I would tell you, like when I come on your program, I always tell you that the government of the CPDM ruling party, they don't know how to run a country. If you are investigating a person, what you need to do is to suspend the person with full salary.
All of them got immunity. All of them got immunity.
Let me learn. Immunity doesn't mean anything. When you have immunity in a country, they make a coup d'etat, they remove you. They don't say you have immunity, they suspend the constitution. So we should not be fooling each other that they have immunity. Immunity doesn't mean when you kill people. In the constitution of Cameroon, they talk of high treason, and that could be high treason. So high treason, they don't care whether there's immunity. If you can embezzle money of large scale, that money that could have used to construct road, build hospitals, bring electricity, water, that they should impeach you and it should be a treasonable offense. So I don't see here we talk about immunity by committing crime. They don't have immunity. Even Mr. Biya, he hasn't got immunity because inside the constitution of the Cameroons, they say they can impeach you. So we should be very careful when we make statements in the public domain. My point that I was making is that he should be suspended. That's how you investigate a matter. I will say that he's innocent until proven guilty. There's a procedure I talk about, Criminal and Police Evidence Act that we use in the UK, which I would recommend that we should also use it in the Cameroon.
Yes, Maitre Alex, my question this morning is if you are happy that progress is being made, because you have often talked about this issue that there's supposed to be a criminal justice system put in place. And apparently the people who are often regarded as the untouchable, they are actually going through this criminal procedure or justice that you used to talk about.
I don't really think they are following the right track. I should tell you something. I will tell you that the Special Criminal Court is a political court to try political people who have committed political crime. I don't think the government is really honest when they want to try Mr. Ngongo. I'm not a fan of Mr. Ngongo, but I'll tell you what is happening right now. There is a confusion about Mr. Ngongo succeeding Mr. Biya, and there's Frank Biya there. So now, what they are trying to do, they want Mr. Ngongo to be a fall guy. They want to remove him from the position that he can succeed Mr. Biya. It's a political game. That's why I say that I would expect our local police officers to investigate crime.
Who is that police officer, Maitre Alex, who will have the lever to investigate Ngongo?
No,
without instruction coming from.
Listen,
yes.
The job of police officers in the Cameroon is clearly defined. I presume so, although I haven't seen it. They know what to do. If they see somebody who have committed a crime, it's reasonable, they can arrest you. Unfortunately, people are scared of personalities in Cameroon. In the UK and even in Cameroon, you have what they call citizen arrest in Cameroon. If you see somebody committing a crime, you can arrest that person and hand the person.
Maitre, some of these police officers, celebrated police officers you are talking about, they have tried. I'm citing the case of a lady who was heading the Department of Police in the Southwest region. She fought land grabbing and whatever. So at the end of the day, her head went. She had to flee the country.
You're talking about Helene Soka. I like her spirit, but however, when you're fighting something, you don't give up. That's one thing with me. Whether you're wherever you are, you should be fighting. Yes, Helen Nsungkikang was a great police officer and fighting for the interests of our people. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's still fighting. You don't need to be a police officer to fight. Patriotism means when you have corrupt people in your country, you fight them as individuals. When I mean fight them, you can do what we call citizen arrest. If I was in Cameroon, I have evidence that somebody, it doesn't matter if you're the prime minister, you've stolen money, I read the law, I'll arrest you, I'll give you a citizen arrest. And if the government doesn't do anything, then I'll say, I've done my best. But we should not stop fighting corruption. And once more, I will say, the Special Criminal Court is a political court. It's similar to the military tribunal that was created in France in 1973, which was there to try political opponents during the French Revolution. So I'm not a fan of Mr. Ngongo because I don't know him, but justice must be fair. There must be fair hearing. If he has done something because he's holding a very important position in the Cameroons. And if he has done something, the first step is to suspend him so that he shouldn't be in a position to use certain government or get certain government information. So I look at the court, it's a court jester. It's as if it's a clown, because if they were serious, they would have suspended Mr. Ngongo because he's in a position that is very sensitive. He can see so many important information. So if they are serious, the first step would be they should suspend him and they should pay his full wages.
Maitre Alex, Anglophone crisis, emptiness of special status finally exposed by experts.
Yes, to be honest, I'm not a fan of armchair critic. I was in the national dialogue and I was present there. If you want to criticize something, you want to oppose it, you have to go to the root. You have to know how the special status came into existence. It was not part of the national dialogue. I said before we arrived there, the government of the Cameroons have already created 8 committees. There was nothing like special status. They were supposed to talk only about their so-called decentralization. And before I proceed, I will tell you that Article 61, 62, and 67 of the Constitution call for special status. For more than 23 years, we have had do-nothing opposition. It is up to the opposition for the last 23 years to come and say, oh, there's something in the Constitution that says that we can have special status. But
so why should people be celebrating? Silent. Why were people celebrating when they heard that special status was given to the Northwest and Southwest when it is enshrined in the Constitution?
I would like the Guardians and other English newspapers to come and interview me if they want to know the truth. Nobody was celebrating. There was a chairman called Ngwese. After Agobala they should talk about federation, they refused. I was the next person. I packed my bag. I said, I'm leaving this place. I should not leave London and come here. There was confusion, shouting, and the chairman called for police to arrest me. And later on, I told them, you have to pick your phone and call the presidency or else I'm going to leave this place. And what happened now? Somebody, a couple of CPDM, some of them my classmate, Bame was CPDM MP, and then Tico MP, they showed me the special status. My name was number 2. I was supposed to stand and raise it. They skipped my name after Senator Mundi and called Akamefumi. So it was just all a planned game. And however, what I will tell you, special status, the way they do it in Cameroon, I would say there's nothing there. Why? We query it in front of, is it Chief Ebako with the late Cardinal Tumi? They were arguing about it, and Chief Ebako was the person supporting unity state. And I saw a newspaper some months ago, it was the one complaining about special status, but he was the one fighting to support the empty special status, while Cardinal Tumi and myself were arguing.
But why can they not copy? Why can they not copy from the examples of other countries which have similar problems like what we have in Cameroon? Why is it so difficult to copy?
The problem is that I don't believe in copy and paste. Every country have got a unique system. Let me tell you something. Decentralization, or what, is not a magic. It means giving power from the central system to other local authority. Decentralization is not different from federalism. The difference is that federalism is 2-level government. If you ask constitutional experts, they will tell you that the UK have got federalism, but what we have is decentralization. I'll tell you that the government is putting the cart before the horse.
So what is the problem of Cameroon? What is it?
This is very important. This is very important what I want to say. The government is putting the cart before the horse. Why? We saw recently Prime Minister Chief John Gute calling people to come and assess the decentralization and other things of the national debate. But let me tell you something. If you want to decide or bring decentralization, this is what you do. You change the constitution, you spell out the powers. Example, I always say about in Scotland, the powers are what? They have devolved economic, education, health, justice, royal affairs, housing, environment, equal opportunity, consumer advocacy, taxation, and transport. You decide on those things. What do you do now? You put it in the constitution. After you have done all those things, now you call for election. All the parties opposition, they will stand. Then the party that wins exercise that power. But in Cameroon, you hear that they are training people in Nasla to go to, is it regional assembly? So politicians don't rule Cameroon. In Cameroon, it's civil servants who rule the country. So the system is really confusing. We need a new government. We need new people that will have a sovereign national conference. We have constitutional experts. We redraft the constitution of Cameroon. I was looking at your constitution today. There's Article 15 of the Constitution of Cameroon. They say members of parliament belongs to what? The country. No, you represent your constituent. Yes, they are all from the Cameroons. But you see, the Constitution of Cameroon is just like a toilet roll, a sheet of paper. Not really important. When I read the Constitution, I say disgrace. These are supposed to be things that people have to learn and study in school. But I look at it, I feel sorry for us.
By the way, it's made by you Cameroonians, Maitre Alex.
Say it again, please.
Made by you Cameroonians. So why are you disgraced? Well, why are you worried?
A disgrace because the country has been hijacked by some few people who sit behind it and do their things. Most Cameroonians, they have given up. I could say 99%. They just call themselves Cameroonians, but they are spectators. They look at the country. They don't know what is going. They don't know where their president is. They delegate signature permanently. Then they are investigating the person who the signature have been delegated to. So, to be honest, it's a sad thing. When you look at the country, it has been hijacked. He who has got the gun has got powers. So most people are scared. So they cannot say anything. And sometimes when I come here and analyze the Constitution of Cameroon, people should say, I'm not afraid they're going to kill me. How can they kill you that you're having an academic exercise over your platform?
Ok, Maître Alex. Alors maintenant, dans le journal Émergence nous révèle ce matin que à quelques jours de la rentrée scolaire, l'armée est en alerte maximale. La question, c'est pourquoi est-ce que l'armée doit être en alerte maximale lorsqu'on parle de la rentrée scolaire?
You see, it concerns me in Cameroon. When it comes to national security, we should be talking about the police. But every time we talk about the army as if the people of our country are enemies. Yes, the military sometimes can come and help and bring security, but not that way. They have to be in the background. National security should be in the hands of the police, not for the military.
So if the police can no longer deliver, is it not time the army is brought in?
Who says the police they cannot deliver? They can deliver. I cannot blacklist all the police in the Cameroons. There are some few good police officers. When it comes to civilians and police, they are our friends. You cannot be exercise military muscles as if the people of the Cameroons are your enemies. So I don't understand why they treat the people as if they are prisoners in their own country. Because the militaries are there to help people. During the Olympics in the United Kingdom, the military came to serve the people, help the people, they are friendly. But when it comes to the Cameroons, the military are there as if they are oppressing the people. Yes, security in the country is okay. Yes, we need police officers who are trained to be friends with the people and serve our society. We don't need military there. The military should be out there fighting Boko Haram, not to fight the citizen of the country.
Yes, Maitre, let me take you to Kumba this morning. Once again, we are talking about the Kumba Church or Presbyterian Church, Kumba Town. The crisis is taking another twist as we are told. The senior divisional officer for Meme Division, Tundong Chamberlain, has sealed the church premises.
I told you that what we call the church today is the house of Satan. I find a lot of satanic people in those houses. I'm not a fan of churches. To me, if you believe in a so-called God, it should be in your heart what you do to the people. For years now, from time immemorial, I've looked at the Presbyterian Church, the Baptist Church, the Catholic Church, they are house of Satans. Most people who go there, you look at their action. I'm not surprised what is going on now. I'm not surprised that they have sealed it because most churches today, they are not what they are meant to be. They don't teach morality. They don't follow their so-called Bible or whatsoever. People are there to follow the money, just like the government. Our churches in the Cameroons and abroad, you see most churches, they are motivated by money, and they say money is the root of all evil. People don't go there genuinely to share religious beliefs with people. Churches now are different in their business, and you see there are a lot of evangelists, prophets, everybody is coming up now. People follow where the money is.
But we are talking about traditional or mainstream churches here. Maitre Alex, the Baptist, the Catholic, and Presbyterian. You are talking about how did we get to this level that money has been prioritized in these mainstream churches?
Is that we had a blind eye. If you go from Mr. Ikiti, the Presbyterian Church in those one I got Reverend Canson, all of them, read the history of the Presbyterian Church, even before I was born. They are all corrupt places. I understand. Professor Joret Njoma was working there and had a job as a consultant in the Presbyterian Church. He resigned because of corruption. So these things have been happening. It's just that people were fooled, they were blind. When you see somebody, you talk a man of God, then you just believe without questioning it. People always believe you don't question a man of God. But when you go right inside the Vatican, it's the most corrupt criminal syndicate from time immemorial. All of them, they are corrupt organizations, even corrupt than government. It's a fact. You can read those things. They are there in God's name, all those books. You see what they are doing. So to me, religious people, I'm not a fan of religious people. I know one of your fans like Cardinal Toomey. Sometimes I disagree with Cardinal Toomey because he was working in an organization that's one of the top person there, like a cardinal. And Cardinal Toomey have never come openly. I know, unfortunately, he's passed away, but I told him this: you have never come openly and criticized what was happening in the Vatican, because that's your organization. Those are your boss. And out of the 200 candidates, you're part of them. So sometimes when I see religious people, they want to bring morality in government. Sometimes I don't want them to be there because they should first clean their own houses before they come and talk.
Maitre Alex, in Bamenda, former ex-combatants of the DDR Center were drilled on with skills on nation and peace building over there in the northwest region of the country. Some of them have succeeded in their General Certificate of Education examination, GCE, and now they are receiving training on peace building. What is your comment on this new development?
I would have loved some of them to be trained in Bosta Institute, what we used to have in Boya. They shouldn't be free walking the street because some of them, they have confessed that they have killed people. I will never be free to walk beside a person who have killed somebody. Unfortunately enough, yes, it's good to learn. People learn in prison. You don't stay outside and free. I don't want to see a killer walking our street. You should stay in prison. They should train you there. They should rehabilitate you. You should not be free to go out until after a committee have sit and know that you're fit to walk the street. We cannot just allow killer because they have passed GC or whatsoever. They are still dangerous people. They need to be in Bosta Institute. They should not be walking in the street. Nobody asked them to go around raping, kidnapping for ransom. It was a personal choice, because before they started doing what they are doing, I used to walk the street of Babenda, Ntarikun, went to see Pamuna. I was not killing any person. So it's a matter of choice. Nothing can put you in that situation. Well done for passing the GCE, but I'm concerned with the government is that the victims, nobody is talking about the victims. They are trying to rehabilitate these people. They are trying to put them in school. But the victims, the ones in Gabo, the ones in Munyenge, the people who have been killed.
Maitre Alex, the victims you are talking about, they fall under the commission that has to do with reconstruction. And reconstruction is not only physical, it is also mental.
Yeah, what you're saying, we see these guys in the DDR. We know what they are doing. I know a couple of them. The government have given them place to live. The government have given them jobs. I can see it physically. The victims should come first. That's my point. I don't know of how many victims that they have solved their problem or built their houses or what. I want to hear about the victim. I champion people who love peace. If you choose to go violent, it's your problem. In the United Kingdom, the age of criminal responsibility is 10 years old. So when I see people who are almost 30 years old, they come and say they are youth in Cameroon, they go and commit crime. Once as you're 10-year-old, you're criminally responsible in the UK, you can go to prison. Unfortunately, in Cameroon, people who are above 30, because of their physical or social discomfiture, they want to blame it. I champion the victims. I don't champion criminals. Even if you repent, you must serve your time.
Donc,
Okay.
selon vous, maître, les victimes ont été abandonnées à elles-mêmes tandis que leurs bourreaux sont supportés par le gouvernement?
Say it again. The victims have been abandoned. I did not get the last word.
Just asking that according to what you are saying, the victims have been abandoned to themselves and the government is rather concentrating on the perpetrators or those who committed the act.
That's true, because what the government is doing, they are encouraging criminals. I'm sure some people, they were not ex-combatant, but because they know they are sweetening their mouth, they go and lie that they are ex-combatant. The only one ex-combatant which I sympathize with him was Kawa Yannick. That's the only one. The other ones, they were there for money. They came there to exploit the government. They were there for their own interest. The only person that I respect in that area is Kawa Yannick. I met him. He was a genuine person. Taking into consideration his age, I know he was misled. But however, he was genuine. The other ones are there to talk, to fight the government fight. They are there to divide the country, saying that they are patriots and saying other ones are blackleg. So they are part of the problem. If they want to do politics rather than sitting on social media and fighting other citizens, they should join politics, stand as member of parliament, then they start talk. I expect our members of parliament to be talking, not people in the DDR. And if anybody comes and says he has killed somebody, that person must be investigated. That person must stand trial. Nobody have given you the right to kill a human being. You can exercise your view. You fight a cause without killing.
Okay, Maitre Alex, the U.S. ambassador to Cameroon, Lamora, in an exclusive interview granted the state media, called on Cameroonian diaspora to stop adding pains to injury. And within that context, we are talking about the CPDM militants who converged on Atlanta in Georgia, United States of America, and it's the pledge once again for the return of peace and normalcy in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And during that rally, we could see on what the newspapers are telling us, flags of the United States of America as well as that of Cameroon being displayed during that rally over there in Atlanta.
The majority people in the diaspora are good Cameroonians. It doesn't mean when few people come on social media, they talk or what, they don't represent the diaspora. Unfortunately, when we talk about diaspora now, it's synonymous, it's as if we are talking to a particular group of people. I know a lot of responsible, good and nice Cameroonians who are enterprising. People don't know them. They are diaspora. So we should be very careful when we use that word.
No, it is the American ambassador saying so, which is a diplomat. He's a diplomat. And using diplomatic.
Being an American ambassador doesn't mean anything. I judge you by your wit. And generalization is cancerous. That's what I will tell the ambassador. He should be careful when he uses words. I'm sure English is his first language, so he should watch out. Then when I come back to the CPDM, those who had a conference in the USA, what caught my eye was two flags. It was very important that they were displayed. And what I could say, they were very ignorant on what they were displaying. The two flags, the American flag with a couple of stars and the Cameroon flag with one star. They did not know what they were doing. What they were doing is very important. The American flag, if you look at it with those stars, it's made up of the 13 first colonies. That's how it started, the stripes. So in 1977, the Congress adopted that flag as the flag of the United States of America. Then when other colonies they joined, they added the stripes there. But unfortunately for us, we the colonies, the English part, former Southern Cameroon and La Repubblica came together. We are instead removing the stars. So you see, that's the contrast. They are holding a flag that they don't know the significance. You don't wipe one people's history. You don't change the name of one person and use the one name of the other former colony called La Republique du Cameroon. The Americans, they have never done that. They have maintained that to show that it's the former colonies which have become
So which flag are you saying that they should have displayed at Maitre Alex? Because that's the only flag that is liquor.
No, that's not the only flag. I can make my own flag. Nobody can stop somebody, an individual, from making a flag. So we should not say that's the only flag. I mean, we want to hide our history in the Cameroons. You cannot hide your history. We can run, but we cannot hide. We are two colonies that came together. And whether we like it or not, that's how it's going to reflect in the future. And I will tell these people in the CPDM party in America, they look like medieval court jester to me. They are talking about nation building, development, and whatsoever. They are CPDM. They are the ruling party. They are the one in power. If you look at some of them, they come from womb or what, they don't have roads. They come and stand and talk about nation building. This nation building is usually for new independent country. So we should stop using words when we don't know. Who is responsible for development? The CPDM government, the CNU, which they have rebranded the name, CPDM, have been in power since independence. And what have happened? We have gone backwards. So too, gone. Marketing board finished. No deep sea port, lies. Ring road, lies. Wadawum, gone. Marketing board finished. So the CPDM are there to destroy our country. And it is time we have another election to kick them out from power.
Ok, Gwladys, last question to Maître before.
Effectivement, Maître, ma dernière question pour vous ici, c'est la croissance du Cameroun au jour d'aujourd'hui est dorénavant misée sur la production locale.
To be honest, it's difficult to rely to produce things to encourage only local things, because part of the reason why we import things, sometimes people don't know, is to bring peace among our country. If we export things between Nigeria, Gabon, other countries, it helps to bring peace. If you're a country, you're too self-sufficient. Everything that comes to your country is inside your country. It's dangerous that we can fight each other. So although I'm a fan that we should produce local things, but who have stopped us? Nobody have stopped us from producing our own local things.
Aujourd'hui, le gouvernement semble vouloir favoriser la production locale, peut-être accompagner les jeunes entrepreneurs.
The problem is that that's the duty of the government to assist local people. But unfortunately, from what I've heard too, sometimes these the so-called foreign investors, when they come to our country, sometimes they don't pay tax for about 5 years. Unlike local people, they force them sometimes to
Maître,
pay
how are those local industries going to develop with, let me put it in quote, bad partnership signed between Cameroon and the European Union, which of course is promoting dumping? How are those homemade industries going to
What I see, I understand what you're saying. I'm not a fan, because I saw the European Union, they were assessing their relationship with Cameroon, and they're trying to make sure that when Cameroon export things, there should be no tax. What is happening? They are trying to take your raw materials, your timber, your cocoa, your banana. It's high time we stop exporting this thing. We should have that technology to produce it in our own country, so they should come and buy. Because indirectly, they are doing what when they colonize us, they are doing what they are doing. We think they are doing us a favor. We came on earth, we met the natural resources. It's not us, it's not our making. Technology should be what we need. And I'm not a fan of European Union sitting there and ask us to be exporting our raw material. We can produce chocolate in Cameroon. We can make our manufacture our things with our wood. We can do things with banana, chocolate, and other things. Why are we exporting it? I see ourselves that we are still under this imperialism, and that's why I say a few people have been hijacked. They have allowed them to hijack the country. They have allowed them to do what they want to do while the rest of the country is bleeding.
Okay, Maitre Alex, thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much for coming on today's edition of the program, and thank you to televiewers for watching this other edition, which was produced for us by Christain Tebong. We were Gwladys Bomotonguina and myself, Lasha Kingsley. See you tomorrow for yet another edition of the program. Bye-bye.
Navigation